The most dangerous place you can be as a trial lawyer is to think you've got it figured out.
I'm still trying to get better. I still have the passion for it. I believe in it.
Everyone can learn to do what I do.
And yet there's a group here that continues to get extraordinary verdicts.
Trial Lawyers University is revolutionizing, educating lawyers to be better trial lawyers. It's been invaluable to me.
Trial Lawyers University, where the Titans come to train. Produced and powered by LawPods.
Hey guys, we're at Huntington Beach, TLU 2026, and we're joined by my friend who really needs no introduction, Michael Cowen.
Howdy.
He is obviously a very well-known trucking lawyer with a national practice, constantly training, constantly developing, and constantly teaching all over the country. And so today we're going to talk maybe a little bit about something different, and that's going to be about mindset and about mentorship and about developing not just a firm, a brand, and people. And so Michael, for those of our audience who maybe have not been exposed to you, tell us a little bit about yourself, and I'll double back with some questions.
Sure, I'm Michael Cowen. I'm a lawyer, practice out of San Antonio, Texas, but we do cases all over the place. I'm kind of a trucking lawyer, but I'm also just a trial lawyer. I mean, I tried all kinds of cases. I started off with little fender bender car wreck cases, tried tons of them. I think I've just passed 130 trials, something around there. I lost count at some point. I still love it. It's more fun. I'm having more fun now than I've ever had in my life. And I just have this wonderful life. I get to try cases, do things I love with people I love, and it's fun.
We're at TLU Huntington Beach, and I know that as we were coming out here, you were on trial. And so you were on trial, as I understand it, out in Philadelphia. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about that case.
So there's a UPS 18-wheeler going 70 miles an hour in a 55 zone. Okay. And it is going to go over from a left easy pass toll lane to a right lane. My client's driving another 18-wheeler. He's entering the highway. What we think happened, and what my client said happened, is my client merges onto the highway. The UPS 18-wheeler switches lanes and rear ends him. What the UPS driver said and the police officer said is my client cut off the UPS driver and got rear-ended. Okay. So it was he didn't feel any pain at the time, but he started hurting later that day, eventually needed surgery. And very, very hotly disputed case, a lot of fun case.
Yeah, and so sort of a standard truck on truck.
Yeah, truck on truck violence, yeah, that's what we call it.
With, I suppose, some of the same issues that are part and parcel of many people's cases, delay to treatment, and all the issues that go along with the defense. And so how did you guys frame up that case?
Yeah, so I started very simply. A UPS driver is speeding on a wet road. He slams into the he slams in the back of another 18-wheeler. UPS investigated and determined it was his own driver's fault. But here in court, they're trying to blame the driver they rear-ended. That's how we framed the case.
I love it.
Those were the first 4 lines of my opening.
Yeah. How did the defense frame up the case, and what were their alibis or excuses?
Well, their big thing is that they said the police officer was the most neutral witness, and the police officer determined that it was my client's fault. They also really were betting on the fact that they had a local white guy from Pennsylvania. My client was from Texas. He was Hispanic. He had been in the penitentiary for about 15 years. He had a lot of tattoos, including ones on his head, and his hair was so short you could see them, prison gang tattoos, teardrops under the eye, neck tattoos. And I think they just did not think he'd be very credible.
And so as I understand it, this was a federal court case, is that right?
It ended up in federal court because of diversity, yeah.
Okay. And were you able to do any attorney voir dire, or was it all judge voir dire?
It was all judge.
Wow. And so did the judge end up addressing any of the issues of the teardrops, of the tattoos, of the way your client presented?
She did not. And I had mixed feelings about whether to do it. She bifurcated the trial. So we did liability in phase 1, and then damages was going to be phase 2. Okay. And she had granted a motion in limine on keeping out my client's criminal record. And so the tattoos were really hard to talk about, but she did a really good voir dire. She spent a day and a half doing it, which I've never seen a federal judge do.
Wow.
And she did it a little different. So she had the entire panel there and she read them like 40 something questions, but just had them raise their juror number if they had an opinion on something and didn't follow up in the group. And so after she did that, she brought all 49 of them back one at a time and asked follow-up questions of anyone who raised their hand about what they raised their hand about. And we were allowed to ask a couple of follow-up questions if we felt like the judge hadn't raised it, but it was one-on-one. It was not a group setting.
Okay. Well, so I mean, that's, I think, more robust voir dire as far as federal court than I think most people ever do, because most judges are very quick to want to rush through jury selection.
We had a wonderful judge. Her name's Kai Scott. I mean, I would say if I could have every case in front of her, I would have every case in front of her. She was fantastic. The only thing I didn't like, which ended up being as we'll get through the story, ended up being a blessing in disguise, was the fact she bifurcated.
Okay. And so why do you say it's a blessing in disguise? Because typically we would want the jury to hear about the severity of the injuries.
Yeah.
And not, as opposed to not, right?
Yeah, we did not end up, even though we were in Philadelphia, the way that they select their potential jurors, they tend to, there's a lot of counties in the district, and they tend to get the same amount of jurors from each county rather than doing it by population, which would be mostly Philadelphia. And by the end of jury selection, there were no Philadelphia county jurors.
Wow.
And so I had an all-white conservative jury, but I had a client who I love, but who, despite him telling me he trusted me, he thought I was doing a great job, didn't trust me enough to listen to my settlement advice. And we had some pretty good money on the table, and he didn't think there was any way he could lose. And he had a neighbor who's got a totally different factual scenario. His son was killed in front of him through horrible, horrible negligence at a workplace. And, you know, they did not offer a whole lot before trial, and they settled for $26 million during trial. So he thought that was going to happen for him. And so we had what I thought was, we were in the striking distance of being able to settle the case for what I thought was really good money. And he would absolutely not give me consent to settle or negotiate. He wanted me to stay really high. He had very unrealistic expectations. When the jury came back after the first phase, and they were deadlocked for a while. They were out for about a day and a half deliberating. Wow. And I told them, I think, best case they're going to be 50-50. And they ended up being 55% on UPS, 45% on our driver. Okay. Then he started listening to me. He realized there was risk. The judge also helped. We did like a settlement conference the next morning, and we were able to resolve the case.
Yeah, so maybe that Michael Cowen character does know a thing or two. Apparently he can predict what the jury's going to do. So.
Well, not always, but I have learned that especially if you're only talking about liability, and it takes more than a day, and then you get a note saying, we are deadlocked on the percentage questions. 8 of us are one way, 2 feel another way. I knew 2 things. One, I knew that they had found both defendants negligent, or they wouldn't be on the percentage question. The Pennsylvania jury instructions specifically say if you put 51% or more on the plaintiff, he does not recover. Wow. So I knew that they wouldn't be deadlocked if some people, and I didn't know whether it was 8 or whether it was 2, but if some people wanted to give him nothing. So I knew that was a possibility, and they compromised at the 55-45. So I'm 99% sure we had 8 on our side that were wanting to do better for us, but that unanimous requirement's really tough.
Okay. Yeah. So you know, both. Illinois is a unanimous.
Oh, really?
Verdict. Jury. Louisiana is 9 out of 12.
Yeah, Texas 10 out of 12, and I've had so many 10-12 verdicts that I probably would not be as prominent if I had to have unanimous.
It makes it a little tougher. All right. So with that, let's maybe kind of back up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know that you're very well known. You have your podcast. I listen to your podcast, and I've listened to it, maybe not from the very beginning or inception of it, but for a long time. And so I kind of know your backstory. But for those that maybe aren't as familiar, can you tell us your kind of origin story as far as even starting in childhood? What were kind of the seminal, experiences, the way that you grew up, that maybe shaped you into wanting to take up this line of work?
Sure. So things in my background, I grew up in a town called Brownsville, Texas. At the time, it was a small town on the Mexican-American border, as far south as you can get in the continental United States, on the Rio Grande River. Most of my life, I was the only Anglo in the room. Growing up, or one of 2 or 3. I mean, it's just, so although it wasn't a big issue, I mean, but being the other, I think, made me more likely to side with those that are maybe treated us the other. I also learned Spanish, which really has helped my career. My dad had a used car lot. He was a high school dropout. He got his GED. He did really well in life eventually, but he had to. His father died when he was in high school. He had one of 11 kids. They ended up in public housing. He kind of had a hard scrabble life. He pulled himself up by the bootstraps. But my mom was a teacher. Trying to think, I went to college. I was not a great high school student, but I did really well in the SAT, so I got a scholarship for college. Partied way too much, but did well enough on the LSAT to go to law school. I did not know what I wanted to do. I did have two uncles that were lawyers, but because both of them told me not to go to law school, I did not ask them for any career advice because, one of them actually ended up becoming a huge mentor of mine later in life. But at the time, I was like, well, they told me no one would ever hire me. It was a bad idea to go to law school.
And so why were they so anti-lawyer, anti-law school?
They weren't anti-lawyer, but if you knew me at the age of 20, and I partied way too much, I didn't go to class a whole lot. If you objectively, I would not have been predicted to have done well.
Okay, so your trajectory defied all odds, apparently.
Well, I turned it around, but yeah. I was law school spoke to me, but I did not expect that. So I decided to go to law school. The only thing I knew I didn't want to do, there were two things I didn't know. I didn't want to be a criminal defense lawyer, and I didn't want to be a plaintiff's lawyer. I thought plaintiff's lawyers were scummy. I didn't believe in non-economic damages.
Okay, and so I think if I remember correctly, your initial career and the first sort of slew of cases that you tried was as a insurance defense lawyer. Is that right?
No. I never did insurance defense. So I clerked on the Fifth Circuit, and I went to big law in New York City.
That's right.
And so I didn't try anything. I reviewed documents, wrote memos, got paid a lot of money to do it. But I was big law, like securities litigation type stuff.
That's right. And I think if I remember correctly, a woman brought you down to Brownsville.
Yeah, right? While I was clerking, I met the woman who's now my wife, and we were doing the long distance dating, and I ended up moving back home because I was in love.
Okay. And so at that point, that's when you switched and started doing plaintiff's work?
Yeah, well, I'd worked for two plaintiff's lawyers. Well, a couple things happened. One, when I took torts, it made sense. And so it changed my view of the tort system. And I amateur torts. It was very natural to me.
Yeah.
And then I did big law in the summers for the summer clerkships, but I worked for a couple plaintiffs firms during the year just to make beer money.
Okay.
And when I compared my experience working for the plaintiffs firms and all the cool things I got to do, I was like writing appellate briefs, doing summary judgment responses, him taking me
substantive work,
stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas in big law, I met 8 years who hadn't done a depo, 11 years who hadn't tried a case.
Wow.
And I would write a memo that a 3 or 4 year lawyer would put into a part of a motion that a 7-year lawyer would assemble to a motion that a partner would review and make it to the motion. We built $250,000 motions that we lost.
Wow.
But
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, but so I decided that, long story, but I decided that I wanted to do plaintiff's work. I wasn't sure even then at that time. I was gonna go home. I had an insurance defense firm recruiting me to go back. And I called a federal judge I knew from the time I was clerking. He said, well, that firm's okay, but you should talk to my friend Ed, because he practices in the state court, and I've been a federal judge too long. I don't know what else going on in the state courts. And I said, well, I've only met Ed once in my life. Do you mind letting him know I'm going to call?
Sure, yeah.
And so I called Ed and I said, sir, back then it was Mr. Stapleton, because I didn't know him that well. I'm getting recruited by these two firms. What do you think? And he says, well, you should work for me instead.
Okay.
Because I will not pay you as much money, but I will teach you to try cases, and those MFers don't know how to try a case. I will actually let you try cases, and they won't. And I'll send you to the Jerry Spence Trial Lawyers College, and you can't go there if you are a defense lawyer.
Ah, very nice. And so is that what happened?
That's what happened, and those three promises he did before. He did pay me less money, although that changed with time when I started getting a piece of the action. He did teach me to try cases. Within months, I was trying cases, and I did get to go to the Jerry Spence Trial Lawyers College back in 1998.
June 2nd through 5th, 2027. Join all of us back at TLU Beach at the Paseo Hotel. We're going to have more learning and fun than ever before. We're going to have 6 lecture tracks, 8 workshop tracks. We're going to have a golf outing. We're going to have theme parties, dinner parties every night, the Satchel Wild West party, the 80s tracksuit dinner party, followed by the 80s tracksuit pool party, and finally we're going to finish it all off with the après-ski rooftop party. So if you want new friends, you want great food, and you want great learning and change your life, join us at TLU Beach.
Was he your mentor then, coming up?
Well, he would have been, but he had some issues and ended up quitting about 2.5 years into it, and I ended up with the law firm.
Okay. Wow.
He
And
became
so-
a public defender gave me 3 weeks notice that I'm suddenly going to have my own law firm.
No kidding. And so how did you kind of navigate that? Because as a relatively new, maybe not a new lawyer, certainly.
Oh, I
but a new
was. I was like 4 years out of law school.
and a brand new trial lawyer, I suppose, right?
Yeah, I've been trying. I probably had maybe 15, 20 trials by then.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you actually were trying cases early on in your career too then.
Yeah, no, I started with Ed in April of 1997, and by June I was trying cases.
Okay.
And I think I tried 4 that first year.
Okay.
Lost my first 3, but hit a nice one on the 4th one, and
Hey, that's all that matters. And so let's talk about maybe mindset a little
Yeah.
bit, because I've known you for a few years now. We talked a little bit about mindset kind of over the years in our conversations, and you're somebody who I think about, and I thought about the last time I was on trial, with a very, very difficult judge. And I actually, like, your words were resonating through my mind, which were, the judge is a good person, he thinks he's making the right decisions, and that I just have to sort of trust that, as opposed to spinning up inside of my own gut and head and having negative and outwardly negative reactions to him. And so tell us, one, how you arrived at that. Were you always of that mindset? And kind of how that has propelled you forward in your career.
Yeah, I was not always of that mindset. Now, I always liked trying cases, but I was not always doing so in a way that was healthy for me, psychologically, spiritually. I took things way too personal. I took on too much responsibility for the result. I felt like it was my job to save the world and to save everybody around me.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, I had really bad cyclical depression. I got really, really fat, ate way too much, drank way too much, and realized at some point, actually I didn't realize at some point I needed to change. That was kind of a byproduct. I was frustrated at one point because I had multiple 7-figure verdicts, but some of my friends and people I admired had 8-figure verdicts. And at that time, I felt very insecure about that. And so I started working with a coach named Sari de la Motte. I was her first VIP client, which was like a very intense, coaching program, and lots of calls, lots of in-person. And she wanted me to do some mindset work. And I've even told her recently, like, I just went along with it. And I told her, no, I don't, my mindset's not the problem. The problem is I need an 8-figure verdict.
Yeah.
And we really, really started working on reframing things. And it's funny, I told her years later, like, I didn't get an 8-figure verdict until I no longer cared about whether I ever would have an 8-figure verdict. When I just accepted, like, the verdict, the jury's going to do what they think is right. The case, we're going to get the right verdict for this case. It's not about me and how good I am. It's about what's right for this case and what this jury thinks. And once I let it go, it happened. But so I learned a lot about, well, when I learned about codependency, that I was trying to save everybody else, and I was taking on the responsibility for other people's problems, and I was putting myself last. And I had to do a lot of work to overcome that. And then I had to really work on reframing things and the right self-talk, so I would think about things the right way. And when I did, trial became a lot more fun.
Mm-hmm. And so, it says a lot about you to be able to be that vulnerable and to tell people that even though after you had achieved a great measure of success, that you still had these issues. I'm sure a lot of people appreciate that, because if they can look to you, and if Michael Cowen had those problems, maybe they can kind of get on that same path as well. And what was that process like of sort of remyelinating or reteaching yourself the story that you were telling yourself about your past successes or failures?
It was a long, slow process. It was not just like I came up with one saying or one mantra and it got better. It's just working at it, day after day, trying different things. Some things worked, some things didn't. And for me, the self-talk was super important. So I had a problem trusting jurors, and I think the lack of trust, which probably came from some childhood things and some not being the most popular kid in high school and that kind of thing, trusting other people wasn't the easiest thing for me. So I tell myself the jurors are good people. They're taking time out of their lives because they want to do what's right. I can trust them. They would do justice. I just tell myself that over and over again until I start to believe it. It may or may not be true. I mean, there may be someone in the jury that hates me or just wants to kill a case, but it doesn't serve me well to think that.
Right. And so, the way I think about that is that whenever we're in front of the jury, the gratitude has to be genuine.
Yes, absolutely.
And even if, let's say, there is somebody on the jury who despises us or who's going to be a stealth person who wants to stay on to try to sink the case, by being disposed in that manner towards the jury in general is only going to alienate the people who are there to do justice for us, right?
Yeah, and I think those so-called stealth jurors are fairly rare.
Yeah.
I really do. I think most people, they're taking time out of their lives, they really want to do the right thing. I might not agree with them on what the right thing is, but I think in their heart, it's just like when a judge rules against me, like the bifurcation issue. I mean, I didn't agree with her. I didn't want that ruling, but she was coming from a good place. She was a former federal public defender. Then she was a criminal court judge. In her mind, you did guilt or innocence, then you did punishment. And so it made sense to her to bifurcate. And it was her first civil trial. She didn't realize how much of a logistical nightmare it's going to be for everybody. Right. I bet she won't do it again, but I'll find out. She's going to be on my podcast, so I'm going to ask her whether I'm going to ask her whether she'll do it again. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, I really love this judge. Okay. But I had two choices. I could have been mad about it, but that would have changed anything. Yeah. Or I could have just said, that's her ruling. I'm going to respect it, and we're going to find a way to win under those rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that a judge was willing to come on the podcast, I think speaks volumes too. Right?
Yeah. No, she was. No, when you treat them the right way, when you go in there with the attitude, they're trying to make the trial better. Yeah. They're trying to help the jury get a better trial. They're making the rulings they think are right, whether it's the ruling I make or not. I'm not the judge. They feel it, and then you get that positive exchange energy. And we went over a lot of judges that start off a little anti-plaintiff, and by the end of the trial, we're getting much better rulings.
Yeah, and so that process that you went through, telling yourself a different story about your life, essentially, your life as a trial lawyer, is that a one and done, or is that something that you still engage in?
Every morning. Every morning. I do a routine called the Miracle Morning. And I have mantras I tell myself. I've come up with my own affirmations I tell myself every morning.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about
that? Yeah, well, there's a book called The Miracle Morning by a guy named Hal Elrod that really inspired me. I heard him speak. I've met him. He really inspired me, so I try to follow his program. So I do like a short meditation. It's usually like 2-3 minutes. And then I do affirmations, which I've written my own. I do a little bit of a visualization exercise. I read. I journal about gratitude, and most days I exercise, not every day, but I should exercise every day. But yeah. Okay. And I go in a much better mind space when I do that. Yeah. And then and the little mantras I came up with about the judge and the jury. I mean, so when you see me do, I might say, I'm sitting there, I'm feeling nervous. I might repeat that thing about the jurors or the judge 40, 50 times while I'm sitting there. Wow. I'm just, you're sitting there, you're waiting. Yeah. And like sitting there waiting for the judge to come in or something else is like the most nerve-wracking time. Because once you get up and you're in action, you forget about it because you're working. But when you're sitting around waiting, it's tough. Yeah. So that's when I really need the mantras.
But I think that preset does stay with you in terms of the way your body kind of feels in the
Absolutely.
moment.
I am so much calmer now. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not all stressed out. I'm not feeling all tense. I don't get the headaches. Mm-hmm. And it's just become fun because I have let go the illusion that I have the power to guarantee the outcome. That there's like some magic thing I can do to guarantee a win. Mm. And so I know all the things I can do to make it more likely to win. And I know that the looser and more present I am, the more I can get in the zone, the more likely I am to win. Yeah. And so I just let it go and I have just focus on what I'm doing at the time, having fun, having a positive exchange of energy and information with the jury. And I just don't worry about what the final score is going to be. I worry about what I'm doing right now.
So process focused over outcome focused.
Absolutely. And even the trusting the jury, like when a witness comes up with something new or changes the story, I don't get mad anymore. I'm like, well, I trust these people. They're going to see through this BS. Mm-hmm. I'm not, because when we get mad, when we lose our temper in trial, which I used to do, I would turn red or I might raise my voice. Mm-hmm. If you really reflect back, why am I doing that? It's because I'm scared. I'm scared this person is going to pull something over in the jury because they're not smart enough to see it. If you tell yourself, no, they're smart people. They're going to see this. There's 12 of them or 10 of them. They're going to figure this out. And then all of a sudden it's like, it's a gift because now they're revealing the villainy. Yeah. They're showing that they're lying. They're changing their story. So I can just calmly, without getting upset, impeach them, do whatever I need to do. without getting mad about it and trust the jury to get mad about it and do the right thing. And it really has been a huge game changer for me.
Yeah. So just like I've stolen, a page out of your book and stolen your mantra and applied it at times. I was talking to Joe Fried, I think last year, maybe 2 years ago, and he gave me that the world is always conspiring in his favor. And that's another reframe that's so good. And it applies to your case here, right? Because had the judge not bifurcated the trial, there might have been some risk, right, of them also devaluing damages had the case gone all the way to verdict.
I am telling you, it's a confidential settlement. I am fairly confident that jury would have given me less money, and then it would have only been 55% of it because of the fair default, than what I got in a settlement, because the defendant did not want the verdict against them.
Yeah, so I mean, speaks volumes about that mindset, because had you been all spun up about the bifurcation,
then I wouldn't have been, because I couldn't do anything. The judge had ruled. And the judge made it really clear when she was inviting our argument and when she was telling us how she ruled. And in that case, she was telling us how she ruled, and had I argued with her, I would have lost. I mean, you read the room, and she was not that hard to read. And the other side would have started arguing with her when they didn't like the ruling, and I'm like, I could tell when she was wanting to hear from me and when she wasn't.
Yeah, it doesn't move the ball forward.
February 18th through 21st, 2027. It's the Philip Miller Advanced Deposition College. Philip is gathering some of the greatest trial lawyers in the country to teach with him, small group format. It's gonna be limited to 90 participants. It's gonna be back at the Paseo Hotel in Huntington Beach. So if you wanna ramp up your deposition skills, get registered today. TrialLawyersUniversity.com.
That mindset piece, how do you imbue the lawyers that work for you, or maybe even your partners, with kind of that same mindset or that same culture? How do you go about building that into your practice and your firm?
That's a great question. I don't know that I do. I mean, I do share it. I share the mantra. The one thing we do say as a team, like, okay, remember 3 things. We're going to trust the jury. We're going to trust the judge. We're going to have fun. And if you want to humor me and do the mantra with me, that's fine. If not, I usually do it silently. I say that. I'm really supportive. I mean, we work hard. We have very high standards, but the time to coach you is not in the middle of the trial. So I'm very supportive, but I'm not going to say that. I've gone through my journey. I'm not going to say that all my partners have gone through that journey equally. That they're not a little more stressed out. And we each have our own path. Like what works for me may not work for them.
Well, but even that 3-part rule that you just gave, as far as having fun. So I forget who it was, but talked to a bunch of Olympic champions, and he asked them about the right level of mental effort in the moment of sprinting, playing the game, whatever it may be. And the thing that sort of reverberated throughout all the answers was just have fun.
Absolutely.
Because all the work is already done. And if you're not relaxed in the moment while you're playing, you're actually going to psych yourself out, essentially.
Yeah, like I don't like the work of preparing for trial.
Yes.
I do not enjoy the repetition, the going through all the documents, and because now I'm at a point where I don't care. It's actually, I think, really good, because I'm going through the same journey the jury has to go through. Because I'm not working the case up myself anymore at my firm. We got 12 lawyers. I'm not handling my own cases. I'm coming in for the trials. And so I have to go through a journey, which typically is, I hear about the good things of the case, I go through it, I start spotting all the problems, I go through this despair, like, why did we have this case? Why did I spend so much money on this damn thing? I got to tell my wife that I'm about to lose 200 grand that we spent on this case. And then I figure out how to overcome them. By the time we get there, I've gone through the process, but it's a lot of work, and it's an emotional journey, just like the jury is going to have to do that. I don't like that part, but once we get in there, it's so fun. And what's really cool to do is like start telling the defense lawyer, like, isn't this awesome? We can do this. This is so freaking fun. Can you believe that God lets us do this and we actually sometimes get paid for it? Like, this is so cool. And they're like, I don't think this is fun. What are you talking about? And it's not like I'm doing it for, I really mean it, but it like really freaks them out.
That the enjoyment of the trial, I think, translates to even the way that the jury perceives it, because you're not tense, you're just in there doing your thing.
And it's having a full, like, I don't have to be constantly with the righteous indignation or always sad, but I can have a full emotional range in the courtroom. So if we're talking about, let's say it's a death case, there are times when you're going to be somber and sad, But when you're talking about the person's great life before, you got to be happy and animated and talk about the joy and smile because you're got to be there in that moment.
But you got
know?
to be congruent with whatever you're talking about, I suppose.
Right. And so, and then there are times when you need to show some righteous indignation, and there's times you need to show compassion. And when you are having fun, you can show that full range of emotions, rather than just like the one or two that when you're all worked up, you tend to be more coming from fear, more anger, and not have the full spectrum.
And so, Michael, speak to that arc that you just described between maybe being a younger lawyer, super absorbed and mired down in the details of the case, living with the case, not parachuting in at the, towards the end, learning the case and trying it, versus where you're at now, where having done all that work in the past, you're able to learn the case from maybe not a 30,000 foot view, but certainly a 10,000 foot view, go through the same journey that the jury's going to go through, in a sense that they don't know every single detail. They're going to hear the story that's going to affect their...
And the defense points and the warts we have, and they're going to have to overcome them.
And so, is it possible for somebody to leapfrog and skip that work and get to the point where you're at without having done all the work?
No. Okay. You got to do the work. Yeah. I mean, it's not just about technique, and it's not just about mindset. I mean, if I went in there saying, I've got a mindset, I trust the jury, I'm going to have fun, but I haven't read my file, and I haven't put the work in, I haven't rehearsed, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's like, someone may have like great athletic gifts, but if you don't go train and you want to play in the NFL, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And so, in essence, what you're saying is that the confidence that now lets you go in a courtroom and relax, it has to be genuine, right? It can't be just painted on your face through a mantra. The mantra is backed up by all the hours and all the trials that you've done.
Yeah, and I think eventually, if you want to get to high-level trying cases, there's two things, and one's really cool and one's not, that I think really help. One is you've got to win one. I mean, you've got to win something to have confidence, because until you do, you don't, deep in your heart, it's hard to believe it's possible till you do it.
Right.
I also think you need to lose a big one. I think you need to lose a case where you've got a bunch of money in it, maybe where you had a good offer on the table, and it sucks. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing to lose a case, but in a way it is, because then you don't die. And all the things you're worried about, like, oh my gosh, if I lose this case, I'm going to get sued, or no one's ever going to refer me a case again, everyone's going to think I'm sucked, my career's going to be over, and then none of those things happen.
Yeah.
Like, you don't go broke, you don't go out of business, you keep your license, people still give you cases. Nobody but you remembers the loss. Maybe the lawyer you tried against, but most people don't remember your losses.
Yeah.
And then you realize, like, okay, I don't have anything to be worried about. Like, no matter what happens, it's going to be okay. And then when you really take it to the heart, that's the one thing, the final thing for me was Joe Freed telling me, and it took me a while to believe it, that the universe is always conspiring in my favor.
It's so good.
And I believe that the universe is always conspiring in my client's favor. And I am not God. And so while it would be good for me if the conspiracy in the favor would be for me to win a bunch of money in the case and the client and I to both make a lot of money, that might not be the journey my client's on. Maybe my client just needs to see that someone cares enough to fight for him, and he can go back and fight for himself whether we win or lose the case.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what the journey that God has planned for my client is. Like I said, I hope it's that we win the trial, but I am also humble enough to accept my part in the journey, and my part is definitely to make sure that they know that someone fought hard for them and someone cared about them as a human being. And if the jury shares that, it's all the better. And they have been lately, but I mean, that's because we've been trying better cases.
Yeah.
But if you try enough cases, you're going to try. If you try hard cases, and if you don't try hard cases, it means you're selling them too cheap.
Right.
So if you try hard cases, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And surviving the losses and coming back, I think, is an important part of being a trial lawyer.
Right. And I think that is what separates a true courtroom lawyer like yourself from people who are out there promoting themselves maybe as trial lawyers who are not true courtroom lawyers.
Yeah.
So Michael, we're at TLU Huntington Beach, 2026. What did you teach when you were here?
So I taught mindset, which is my favorite thing. That's my passion right now. So I did an hour on mindset. I taught like a trucking, I think it's called Get Big Justice on Your Big Rig Cases or something like that. But a more general overview of trucking law. And then I did 2 workshops where people brought their own case and we brainstormed as a group. my partner Sonia and I, and then honestly the other members of the group also had incredibly valuable insights, and I think we did some real good during those 2 sessions.
And so during those 2 sessions, do you guys talk opening, case framing, all the way through maybe some voir dire questions?
No, we were more just doing case framing. People would bring their case, and we were talking about how to develop either how to develop the liability, how to develop the damages, or both. So they would bring the case, they had the issues, and then we were brainstorming on them on how to overcome those issues.
Yeah, I love those types of workshops because you have to be in the moment, and you've got to teach off the cuff on a new fact pattern, and not everybody can do that. So
But it's not teaching; it's working together. And we do it every week at my firm. So no one's allowed on a case that is a commercial policy case. No one is allowed to send a demand or go to mediation unless they first bring the case to the whole firm on Tuesday. We have lunch on every Tuesday, and we go over cases and we workshop them, and we put a value on them.
Oh, that's great.
And that way, no one's going to go too crazy on a case that sucks, people aren't going to go. More importantly, people aren't going to go undersettle a case, and people aren't going to settle a case too early when more work needs to get done. So it's been a great process. So, yeah, it's actually some stuff we do all the time at the firm. But I love. This sounds weird, but to me, the most fun, other than trial, is the brainstorming and ideating.
Yes.
I get to do all that stuff without having to do the work afterwards. Yeah. So, it's ideal for me.
So, Michael, you listen to the case, you come up with great ideas, and then
they can go do the work. I get my dopamine hit from coming up with ideas. Then I don't have to go do all the hard work. Someone else has to do that.
The grinding, somebody else has to do it. Yeah, that's great. That's great. In terms of your attendance, because you were here, I think, for the duration of the entire conference.
Oh, absolutely.
I think I saw you on the first day. What were some of your favorite parts of the conference, whether other people who you were able to learn from or to glean something from, or maybe some of the social aspects of kind of the community building that Dan's been doing?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, after 4 days, it is a blur. But first of all, it is the most incredible production of any event I've been to. I mean, it is inspiring, and I've seen it grow and get better and better every year. It's inspiring to see what Dan puts together. I've been doing this now for 30 years, and so I'm not saying I don't learn things from the lectures, I do. But a lot of the things, you've heard people before, you're getting a little bit more. So for me, it's really the connections. It's spending time with these incredible lawyers. And they're like the best of the best are here. And it really puts you in your A game when you speak, because I know, okay, I'm in one room, but John Romano or Joe Freed or, might be in the next, Brian Panish might be in the next room. If I want someone to listen to me instead of one of them, I better have something really good to say, and I better do it in a really engaging way. And so I think not having everyone just listen to the same speaker, but giving people a choice really puts everybody on their A game. So but for me, really, it's the conversations, the networking, like I said, talking to all these just brilliant people who are sharing without asking for anything in return. It's just, I come back so inspired, and then I come back with like 100 ideas, and then I try to go teach and share in my own firm.
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaways as far as observing kind of how TLU and TLU Beach has developed is that everybody who comes here, it's a very self-selective group, both the speakers who come, right, which are the best of the best, but also the attendees. Everybody has the right mindset. Everybody's got a growth mindset. And the other is just how accessible everybody makes themselves.
Absolutely.
We've all been to those conferences where the speakers are the speakers. They've got a different ribbon on their little nameplate or whatever. Whereas here at TLU, you teach, and then everybody comes up to you after you get off the stage, and then you sit there for 30, 40 minutes at a time, talking to individual people, helping them out, with their particular issues, and nobody has any sort of concerns or anxiety about going up and talking to you.
Absolutely not.
August 24th through 28th, Satch Oliver has come all the way from Arkansas to right here to Hermosa Beach to TLU Beach House. And we're going to be teaching a 5-day Depositions Are Trial boot camp. You're going to be working on your cases. Satch is going to be working with you on your cases. So not only are you going to transform your case, but at the end of the day, it becomes a case expense because your case is going to get that much better. This program is limited to 10 participants. So if you want to come, get registered today. We'll see you right here.
And I really have to give Dan Ambrose credit. And when you first meet Dan, Dan's a very big personality. But
that's one way of saying it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the more you get to know him, the more you realize how much he cares.
Yeah, he's got a heart about it for sure.
He really, 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 and I've never seen someone work nearly as hard as he does. I mean, he calls everybody. He tries to he tries to make sure everyone that comes here gets something out of it, whether you're a speaker, whether you're an attendee. And for those of us who do speaking or workshops, he really pushes us. Like, if you want to do a workshop, you can't just do a workshop. You've got to go, put things out to the people who are registered for it. You have to have Zoom meetings in advance. I have to give people the opportunity to submit their case materials, and I have to study them in advance. I can't just go there and just wing it, because Dan doesn't put up with that. If you want to do a thing for Dan, then you've got to bring your A game. You have to give value to the people that are coming here, and it's so awesome. It's become such an incredible event. I'm just blessed to be part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, tell us what's next for Michael Cowen. I know that you have your own Big Rig Boot Camp.
I got the Big Rig Boot Camp, July 9th, bigrigbootcamp.com. That's my program, where I do a 6-hour program where my partners and I are going to speak on trucking law. We're going to do some things a little different, a little more interactive this year. So we're going to do a live, I'm going to talk about the theory and then do a demonstrations of the live cross-examination of a truck driver, of a trucking expert, and then we're going to bring a real medical doctor and a demonstration of how to put on medical testimony. And then I've seen so many people settle facet joint injuries too cheap, because with a facet joint injury, you can get a procedure called a radiofrequency ablation. And if it's truly a facet joint injury, you'll get 100% pain relief, but it's temporary. And so many people are like, well, the client's better now, we need to settle the case. Like, no, the client's better for about 9 months, and they're going to have a lifetime of the cycle of relief and pain coming back, relief and pain coming back, procedure after procedure. Those are $1 million cases. And so we're not only going to show how to put the doctor on, but we're going to show how to present one of those cases so that people don't leave money on the table in those cases. We're also going to have fun. We're going to have a party the night before. Dan's taught me a lot. So Dan sat down with me. He came last year and he spent 2 hours giving me suggestions on how to make it better. So we got the rooftop of a hotel in downtown San Antonio the night before for a party. For 6 lucky people, we're going to do a workshop the day after. Very cool. But we're doing it in my office. And my office, I've got magnetic whiteboards with a printer. I've got a huge TV that we can go to, but I can only fit 6 attendees. And so basically 6 people are going to get the experience that we get in my firm. You're going to bring your case. My partner Mallory and I are going to brainstorm your case with you, and you're going to walk away with, since we're going to do trucking cases, what we call anchors, like the whatever rules, materials, we're going to print them for you. We're going to help you create exhibits. You're going to go out there ready to win your case.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I attended Big Rig Boot Camp. I think last year I was in Poland, so I wasn't able to make it. But the year before I went, and I don't know if I told you this or not, but as far as a one-day, super focused trucking seminar, I don't know that there's anything better. It was, my favorite part was, I think you did a simulated cross-exam. Yeah, I think you actually brought in maybe an expert or
I know I did.
I'm reconstructionist, I think.
Yeah, I've done a trucking expert. I think that one I did the crash reconstructionist.
Yeah, and it was from the setup that you did, as well as butcher bordering some of the rules and some of the things that you guys were discussing, I thought was highly effective. You still have to tell me where to purchase that double wide.
The king flip chart, the double wide. Yeah, just Google king flip chart. They come from Italy. So you have to order. They're expensive. You have to order them online. It takes a little while to get shipped.
I looked on Amazon and I could not for the life of me find it.
You have to just Google king flip chart. It's I think it's king.it or something like that. But it's I got that from Mark Lanier's seminar. But we brought it all the way up to Philadelphia with us. I just can't try a case without it.
Yeah, it's impressive, and I think it gives the other side flip chart envy, because it gave me flip chart envy certainly when I saw it. So
it's one of my crutches now. I absolutely, but it also slows me down. Okay. I can tend to go a little too fast, but when I stop to write things down, it gives what's the saying? The space between your words gives the jury time to actually comprehend what you're saying. And I tend to go way too fast. And so writing things down really slows me down, and it puts it clear. And it also emphasizes points. So when the defendant says something that is I'm going to prove later in the trial is a lie,
write it down.
I just go up there. Okay, I want to make this clear. So, you are saying, and I'll write, did I get these words exactly right? And this is your testimony under oath. And I just leave it there. Yeah. Unless I can impeach that the witness right away, but I'm going to have to come back through someone else. And I go, well, let's go back.
Yeah.
So he
effective.
testified to this. Is that, my favorite one is like I got the defense crash reconstruction. So I had like 10 different statements that I had written down that she said. Is this consistent with the truth? No. So this is what she said. I didn't want to say lie. I said, so what she said was, can we say the words inconsistent with the truth? I said, so all 10 of these things she said were inconsistent with the truth. You'll agree with that? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And that was it.
So, I mean, that operates on so many levels because one, you're not over-promising and then under-delivering. We never want to do that, generally. And then two, in addition to letting the jury remember the stuff, when you roll out that flip chart on your closing, you don't have to re-explain how we got here. They can just sort of hear it and see it because they see, their own memory is indexed, the juror's memory is indexed to whatever demonstrative you were using.
Yeah.
And so, I love that demonstration. I think that a lot of people that I talked to got a lot out of it. I know that every year, Big Rig Boot Camp, you have sort of a different plan or attack. I think we did, teleporting trucks. I think last time when I was there, that was sort of that, and I think telematics was a subset of what you were teaching. The following year was something else. And so what's this year going to be? We're
doing more of the trial skills combined with, we always have to have the basics. So we the top 10 roles. And of course I'm doing my mindset because that's where my passion is. And I think I really do believe I can help people and enjoy their lives more.
That's where lawyers, I think, are more lacking than in some of the other areas.
Absolutely. And I want people to be, I want people to not just have good verdicts and make a lot of money. I want them to be happy. I want them to enjoy their lives and get rid of this imposter syndrome, get rid of this depression that's taken too many of our friends in this profession we're in. I've seen too many tragedies, and if I can just save one person or help one person enjoy their lives more, it's worth doing. And then we have a really, we're at a new venue starting last year, which is just an incredible production value because it's a place where they have big concerts and box last year, like 2 weeks after I was on the stage, Morrissey was on the same stage. He was, lead singer from the Smiths. They've had, bands, events, and so we have, and it's actually been cheaper because all the LED screens are built in, all the lighting and stuff is built in. I don't have to go rent it. It's really been cool. It's going to be a great event.
Awesome. And it's good. Tell everybody the dates again.
July 9th is the actual boot camp. So the party will be the 8th. The turbocharger case workshop will be the 10th. But you just go to bigrigbootcamp.com. It's cheap. I think it's like $250 or something.
Awesome.
The only reason we even charge is when I didn't charge, a lot of people would show up. It would sign up. It would sell out. And like 30% of them wouldn't show. And then we'd have a waiting list of people that couldn't come. So we charge like a minimal amount, help cover the cost a little bit. But the bigger thing is get a little skin in the game so you show up.
Awesome. Michael, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, my friend. It's always good. I love you, and it's always good talking to you.
Always a good conversation. Thank you again.